All right, we're going to get started here in a couple minutes, so we'll let people join. All right, um, we'll get started here. Thanks everybody uh, for attending this quarter three street projects update webinar. If you've been following our social media platforms at all, you've probably been getting quite a number of updates on some of the bigger projects this year. Um, that's kind of what we'll be focusing on as we kind of get into fall and closer to winter and projects start to wrap up. So thank you again for being here. Appreciate um, your and everyone else's patience as we go through construction season. My name is Nolan Bergstrom. I'm a community planner here at the city and on the call today to talk through some of these projects as well as our um, Public Services Division Manager, Dennis Randolph. So we'll get started here. Just a couple housekeeping things to start. So um, during the webinar, if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A function in Zoom, and we'll try to get those answered, but we'll try to keep those related to the projects that we talk about today. Um, for any other questions you might have about a city service, maybe a non-emergency situation, etc., you can utilize our 311 system. Um, and for getting updates and staying close to these projects, some of you may already know this, but if you don't, um, the City of Kalamazoo website, we've got some pretty great project pages, and you're able to subscribe on those project pages to get email updates, which is a great way to stay connected to some of these as those pages get updated and projects move forward. And then, of course, these webinars, like they have been last year and this year, are recorded and then submitted onto our City of Kalamazoo YouTube page. So if you know somebody who wanted to attend one of these webinars but wasn't able to, they're able to go back and watch. So we'll kick things off. Just wanted to talk about some of the bigger projects that are kind of happening right now in the downtown area and kind of what's coming up next. Some of you may have seen the Streets for All logo, and we've been posting quite a bit about these projects. Michical Street is actually a big project right now that is ongoing, and that is a part of the overall scope of Kalamazoo Ave being converted from one-way to two-way traffic. Um, Michical right now is doing really well. It's on schedule. I'll jump ahead here quick. So they've actually been laying the new multi-use or shared use path along Michical, and they've been forming curbs, and they're also working right now, to finish up and start paving Michical Street. So, when Michical's opened again, it will still function as a one-way street temporarily while the other big street projects downtown move forward. So as the network is getting converted from one way to two way, there'll be some temporary traffic movements. And then once Kalamazoo and Michigan Avenue are fully converted to two way, then it will be a two-way system as we move on to other projects specifically outlined on this map. So we're kind of hitting them in pairs, right? We're doing Kalamazoo Ave first, then Michigan Ave, and then as you can see, there are also going to be opportunities to redesign South Street and Lovell Street to be two-way streets, and then that section of Stadium Drive that's shown on the map, that's called the Spaghetti Bowl by a lot of residents, is also planned to get reworked. So pretty exciting stuff in the downtown area, and this map is pulled directly from View from the curb, or not View from the Curb, our City View newsletter. So this went out over the summer to keep people informed. It's also available online, but I just kind of wanted to go over these big high picture, high level projects, and talk a little bit too about, how a lot of this is getting paid for. So, um, a- all of this money is federal grant dollars. It's really what's making all this possible for the city of Kalamazoo. It's kind of unprecedented to have this much funding available from the federal government to complete this work. And it's, all stemming from federal programs that are very specifically focused on, safety, reconnecting communities, um, and just revitalizing some of our transportation networks and how we think about our transportation networks. So this has actually, enabled us to complete this work over the next coming years. So I just wanted to highlight that real quick too. And as a part of that work, this was touched on at the previous webinar. One big chunk of that federal grant dollars that we received was through the Protect grant, which is specifically focused on the creek as it goes from downtown towards Western's campus on Stadium Drive. So we'll have the opportunity to daylight the creek, upgrade stormwater infrastructure, and bring the properties in that area up kind of out of the floodplain, or kind of eliminate the floodplain in that area, the orange area that you see here, which will be super helpful for not only residents in the Stewart neighborhood and in West Main Hill, but also small portions of Vine. And as you head kind of southeast or southwest on Stadium Drive, excuse me, that small portion of East Campus kind of built into the hill where Waldo Stadium is. So pretty big investment in stormwater in and around the downtown. And I wanted to touch as well on some of the big work that's been going on downtown that's been affecting a lot of folks' commutes. A lot of that work is utility upgrades related to the privately funded event center. So, this was on the horizon, but it wasn't fully anticipated when some of the other city street projects were planned out. So, there's been some pivoting and making sure that these projects are coordinating to the best of our ability with, consumers, with our own staff, with event center folks. So trying to make sure that, you know, we mitigate some of the headaches involved with detouring and things like that as best as we can. A lot of the infrastructure in the downtown area is very old, so it's pretty intensive work when you have to go in and upgrade these utilities. But the positive part of that is that they probably won't need to be upgraded for a very, very, very long time. So, this will this work is necessary, and it's going to be a game changer in and around this area. So, we specifically just appreciate people's patience with a lot of this utility work. There's been other utility work too throughout the community with Consumers Energy, AT&T, other people doing upgrades. So it's good to get utility upgrades, but understandably, it can be very frustrating if you're along a detour route. And so we wanted to recognize that and appreciate everyone's patience with that. And you'll see on here the two street projects that the city is focusing on are Michical and Ransom Street. So pivoting to Ransom Street, um, there was a big portion of the work that was done last year that was called Phase 1. There's now Ransom Street Phase 2, which has been ongoing. A lot of the work right now is focused on the actual roadway surface, forming and installing curbs, sidewalks, driveway entries and exits. And then you'll see in the picture right here, top right, there's some stabilization and elevation for certain sidewalks along Ransom Street, and we're actually using or reusing some of the old brick pavers that were under Ransom Street or on Ransom Street for this type of work. And there'll be other pavers as well that go into different installations along the corridor. So it'll be honoring in many ways kind of that historic character of Ransom Street. Um, Dennis, is there anything you wanted to add here?
Uh, no, I do have a comment, Nolan, because I know some folks have mentioned it. There's a big black square on the right side of the screen, and it's obstructing part of your view. So I don't know if there's anything you can click on right now to get rid of it, but
Oh, I'm
uh,
sorry. Okay.
yeah,
Well, let's see if I can fix that.
hmm,
So let's try. How's that?
that's better, Nolan. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Um, so as I was saying, if you now if you can see this picture that is showing some of those brick pavers being reused in some of the pedestrian elements along Ransom Street. So it'll be a cool and historic way to call back to, those pavers along Ransom Street. I also wanted to call out and let people know that staff and consultant team that have been working on this project have been holding sort of community meetings at regular intervals throughout the year. The next one is Tuesday, September 10th at 9:30 a.m. It's at the Northside Association for Community Development Building at 612 North Park Street. So that's a chance to kind of talk to staff, talk to the consultants about questions you might have. Um, and that opportunity's been there um, for businesses as well, with the obvious, detours that are still going on. But this work is on schedule, it's moving forward, and it's highly focused on the surface level treatments now. All right. Glad everybody can see now. Dennis, did you want to talk a little bit about Westnedge?
Sure, I can do that, Nolan. Hello, everybody. I'm Dennis Randolph. And Westnedge, again, is actually this starting tomorrow, reaching a really important point. We have some major connections, and I'll have to stop. Westnedge includes water system improvements, sanitary system improvements, and along with the road resurfacing and restoration, stormwater repair. So it's quite a complex project. And starting tomorrow night, we're going to be making a major connection between the work we've been doing on Westnedge and on White's Road, which has also been going a major project that Nolan will talk about in a minute. But we have to connect the water and the sanitary pipes together where they intersect at the intersection. So, uh, first of all, the project is basically on schedule. It's been a long, hot summer, and we appreciate that, but we are online to finish this in the fall as we had planned. This weekend, starting tomorrow night, we are going to make those connections at White's and Westnedge. And to do that, we need to close the access to White's Road so that we can, that's where the connections have to take place, unfortunately. So starting tomorrow night and running through Monday morning, uh, White's will be closed on the west side of the intersection so we can do the work. But traffic will continue to flow on Westnedge. We've told our contractor and our team, it's really important to make sure we have at least the one lane flowing southbound as it has been most of the summer. And so that will take place. But you'll notice if you go down through the intersection, you're going to have to shift around a couple times as the crews work in different places. Not all the connections are in the same spot in the ground. So, we have to do it a piece at a time and then restore the street so that we can get it open again next Monday. There may be some other minor stoppages again as we finish things up. But again, the project's on schedule, and you should be seeing more and more road reconstruction work. Up to now, we've been building water mains and sanitary sewers, but you'll see the contractor bringing up the grades, compacting the bases, and doing paving as we move into the fall. So again, watch for the closures on this weekend. We know that some folks need to have service for their trash down on the uh, location just to the west of Westnedge, and that will be able to take place. We've alerted our contractors to make sure that folks can have their trash picked up. If you don't, or if you have a problem, we have inspectors on site. Grab one of them or call 311 and we can make sure and take care of it for you. But hopefully there shouldn't be any problems. The contractors are aware. So anyway, that's where we are in West Sydney.
Yeah, so I think Dennis talked about it a little bit too. White's Road is, closely connected to the Westnedge project. And talked about that, today through Monday, that White's Road was going to be closed at Westnedge Avenue for that necessary work. But we are closing in as we get towards the end of the year where a lot of these projects are going to start wrapping up. The big reconstruction projects, similar to downtown utility work, right? They're mostly primarily underground projects. So this is replacing infrastructure that is, fairly old, maybe past its life span and needs to be replaced. And that is the kind of grueling type of work, the underground work. So we're getting past that now, and we're moving towards more of this finishing up type work, resurfacing curbs, sidewalks when applicable. So we're close. So that's all good. We've got some other projects going on too, smaller scale but citywide, that some of you may have noticed. In particular, one federally funded program that is ongoing right now is the Safe Streets for All. So that's different than the downtown work. This is a federal program where the city is undergoing a process of creating a safety action plan for the entire city. So this would be a guiding document that would focus on this safe systems approach. This graphic that you see here at the right, this is kind of the federal standard right now. And it's all about, being proactive, trying to make our street network and our right of way kind of as safe as it can be for the folks that are, would be considered kind of the lowest common denominator. So those are the folks that are most at risk of potentially getting injured. So that's, children, the elderly. And if we design for them, it should be safer for everybody. Obviously, um, there are behavioral changes that come with some of these projects being installed, and um, we'll be working on sort of some educational kind of initiatives as well. But right now, city staff are working with Alta, AECom, and SYNCAR as consultants to create the safety action plan, and that work is going to continue through next year. And then the other half of this are implementing some pilot projects, some of which folks have seen. So Level Street Cycle Track is one. There's the Stadium Drive Cycle Track. There's been some mid-block crossings installed. So the mid-block crossings are just like a landing spot for a pedestrian. So they have a safe space if they do have to wait for a car to go by in order to cross the street. So um, you'll see these throughout the community. We've been installing speed humps throughout the city, and we're also going to be installing some mini traffic circles this month and into next month. So again, these are pilot projects, and the big outcome with this is that we'll be monitoring and adjusting these pilot projects as we wait for our safety action plan to be complete. Once we do have the safety action plan and the data from monitoring these pilot projects, that basically will unlock the door for more federal funding to take a look at where some of these types of facilities could be installed permanently. So, right now, kind of in that pilot phase, but this is kind of the approach from the national level, kind of trickling down to the local level. And Kalamazoo, much like a lot of other communities, is trying to be proactive with this safety approach. So um, be on the lookout for those projects. And of course, if you see a speed hump or maybe a mini traffic circle or damage to one of those pilot projects, you can alert staff by using 311, and you know staff can review and either um, assess a damaged pilot or make an adjustment if it's deemed necessary. So those are some interesting those are some of the bigger projects in the community. I did want to also just point out to folks some upcoming engagement opportunities. One is specifically related to Michigan Avenue. So much like we did in 2023 with Kalamazoo Avenue, we are hosting a series of meetings, kind of kicking off with this open house to talk to people in the community about the redesign of Michigan Avenue, from a one-way to a two-way. So we really hope that you can stop by the open house. So it's a, you know, come when you can between 5 and 7:30 p.m. at the Epic Center, Thursday, September 12th. So if you're able to make it at 6, please come. If you're able to be there early, that's fine too. We just want to see the community out there, and so we can talk to everybody about this project and get some good feedback. Um, and there'll be information on some of those other downtown projects that I mentioned too. So it'll be a good chance to ask those questions one-on-one and talk to us about Michigan Ave. The other opportunity is, you know, our master plan update. So we have Imagine Kalamazoo 2025, which has been our guiding document for the city for a lot of these projects. And now we're almost at 2025. So we're looking at, the process of re-engaging the community to uh, update the master plan, and that's Imagine Kalamazoo 2035. So on the city's website, and this is actually a direct screenshot from the city's website, um, there's a whole page about opportunities to engage with the city and staff, different events. There's going to be a lot of engagement related to this, and transportation is going to play a big role with our new master plan. So this is just another great opportunity to connect with us, and this is going to be a lot longer term than some of the Michigan Avenue engagement. But nonetheless, I just wanted to make sure, if you know somebody who's interested, let them know. Come to some of these events, and stay connected. Um, all right. So tried to keep it pretty high level. There's been a lot of information being, you know, sent out into the community from the city to make sure everyone is as up to date as possible with some of these bigger projects. I did want to shout out that, some of the other big projects we had going on this year, like the Inkster Bridge reconstruction, some work on Riverview Drive, um, those projects are done, completed. So those actually were completed ahead of schedule. So, we're on track, I think, to get these projects done. So if you do have a question, and I see there's, some comments about the black box at the beginning of the meeting, but if you have some questions related to this project, you can submit those. Otherwise, I'll take a look at what we have so far. So um, there is a question, Dennis, related to White's Road and accessing um, a residence along White's Road. So they're wondering how they're going to get out of the street this weekend with the work that's going on. Um, will they be able to go eastbound to Duke to get out of the neighborhood?
Yeah, we're going to be working right at the intersection. Unfortunately, that's what makes it so difficult. But there will be two-way traffic, and if you've been down there, you see that the contractor has actually been building road. There's pavement, but you will be able to go two-way back from the Westnedge intersection back towards Duke's to be able to move up through the earlier go arounds and detour. So yeah, and that also is the way that the trash pickup will be taken care of too. So and we have alerted the contractor about making sure people can get around. So again,
Yeah.
hopefully as of about 2 hours ago, we told them what we needed to do for folks. So yes, they should be able to get around okay.
Yep. Yeah, and I was going to say, Dennis mentioned it too, but please contact 311 because our solid waste coordinator at the city um, receives those 311 requests related to any issues you might have about curbside garbage or recycling pickup. and he can also connect with um, the haulers and make sure that that is getting picked up. So,
There's also a couple quick questions. One of the early ones was just about Cooley and what's happening at the event center and Cooley through the event center area from Kalamazoo down to Water Street has been vacated, abandoned, so that the event center could be developed in part over that site. Uh, will traffic be going up there? Not cars, but you're going to see uh, lots of pedestrian moving around over that old street bed and things like that. It's really cool, uh, and it should be really nice. But yeah, Cooley has gone away because of the project. There was one other, the next one too I see is about the Protect Grant, and I can talk about that. Protect Grant is the big drainage project Nolan mentioned at the beginning that goes from West Nidge down along Michikel down to Oliver Street to basically Bronco Stadium. And that project has about 4 phases. They're going to extend over the next 4 or 5 years. Phase 0 is actually work that the event center developer is going to do. And we are preparing plans and getting permits for that, or they are right now. We have to clear NEPA. Everybody knows about NEPA, the National Environmental Protection Act, and also Section 106, which are the Historic Preservation Act. And so we're going through those clearances right now, along with the developer. Work will probably start on that phase 0 of I don't know if it'll be later this year, but early next year sometime or by the spring. And then we will be following successfully uh, down Michigal towards down Stadium towards Oliver over the next several years. We have not let the design out for that work yet because we're still coming to our final agreement with the feds to give us the money. Okay, they granted us the money, but we have to have an agreement with them, which is great. But we're still working that out. When we have the agreement done with them, then we will be hiring consulting engineers to do the design for those other phases of work. But again, what we're doing right now is clearing NEPA and Section 106, which are important things to take care of, and we're doing it up front, which I think makes everybody happy. And so we'll be hiring engineers and planners to work on those designs. Probably the advertisements, the request for proposals will hit the streets early next year, and they'll be starting to get into the design. Oh, next summer we'll be having meetings, just like Nolan mentioned, that we're going to be having with Michigan Avenue at that time, and so you'll be able to see what ideas are out there and to put your comments in. So that's upcoming work that you'll be able to see. And again, the total project is going to be out there for several years in order to do it. It is a big project. It's the biggest ones of our federal grants that we got for transportation, and it's important. So we'll be taking a while to make sure we get it right.
yeah, and I wanted to add too that as uh, that work is um, you know, bid out and things like that, you can stay connected on the city's website too to see how that process is going. Um, so, please explore that as well. Um, I saw another question come through related to Safe Streets for All, so some of those pilot projects. Um, yes, so to a certain extent, with Safe Streets for All, these are kind of longer term pilot projects. And so we might determine, say, we put a mini traffic circle in at an intersection and we're monitoring it over uh, its pilot period, and we determined, hey, that might not be the best treatment for that intersection. There is flexibility to take a look at maybe another option to try and make that intersection safer. So yeah, there's some flexibility with the pilot projects as we monitor them to um, see how either they can be tweaked over time. A good example is with like Level Street. Um, there was some bollards that um, were removed um, and readjusted, right? So we're able to make incremental changes over time and kind of track the progress of each of these. And with the mid-block crossings as an example too, right now, those mid-block crossings that are installed, they're on grade with the street. When a finished product for a mid-block crossing will look kind of like what is along Rose Street in the downtown by the museum, right? That has raised curbs. Or another example is there's a few others kind of over by or along Oakland Drive. Another cool thing with these mid-block crossings in the future as a traffic calming tool is that we do receive 311 requests and information from people about people getting, passed by someone using the center turn lane on a street as a passing lane. That's very dangerous. We don't want that type of behavior on our city streets. So in many aspects, the mid-block crossings, when they're permanent, are also a way to mitigate that bad behavior because they're raised curbs, right? And they're kind of in that center lane. So in many respects, that can be used as another traffic calming tool and a great amenity for um, a pedestrian wanting to cross a street. Um,
I guess there's a couple comments about uh, sidewalks. I'd like to address that,
yeah,
Nolan, because we we continue to submit grant applications to the federal government, and these are all for the bipartisan infrastructure law that Congress passed several years ago. And so it's a good program. It's got another year and a half to go, and we have a recent grant that is in for evaluation right now that involves sidewalks, pedestrian safety. Specifically, it's looking at that. So yeah, we are applying for funds. We've been very active, and the feds know we've been in there pitching. So I think that helps us actually. So yes, we are. Our problem right now is just managing a lot of projects that are multi-year and involve just meeting a lot of requirements from the feds and the states and just making sure it's done right. We learned a lot this summer from all the work that went on, and we just want to make sure as we continue on, projects keep getting better. There's one other question I wanted to mention, or just one other thing about the work we're doing. What we're seeing so far is that total crashes in the city are going down. But even more importantly, uh, pedestrian and bicycle related crashes are going down. And we have a pre period. It was the years 2014 to 2019, which was before the COVID years. In traffic engineering and traffic safety, we aren't really considering those COVID years, 2020 and 2021, as reliable data points. So our before period is beforehand. And what we're finding is compared to that before period, that both PED related and bicycle related crashes going down. And if you do follow traffic safety, you know that across the country, pedestrian and bicycle related crashes are going up. So we're going against the trend in a positive way. So I think we're always adjusting what we're putting out there. Okay, it doesn't have to be static just because we put something in now. it has to be that way for the next 50 years. That's not how we're looking at what we're doing, but we are monitoring. We have ways of looking at current traffic volumes and current speeds, or at least through June or July, so quite current. And so we've been monitoring things. And again, as we get into winter and hopefully some of our project construction activities wind down, we'll be able to spend a little more time looking at the results we have so far and see what we need to tweak. That isn't a problem. And so anyway, it's been good news so far as far as some of the things we've been trying out. So uh, we will continue on. Again, the grants require us to do certain things, so we're going to continue along with our grants for the time being.
Yeah, and I did want to add, related to the sidewalk work, in the past we've utilized Foundation for Excellence dollars to maintain sidewalk or repair sidewalk and then install new sidewalk in areas that are prioritized. So past couple years specifically, we did some prioritized installs and repairs in the Oakwood neighborhood. Um, and so, that has been the primary funding source for some of that sidewalk work. We're also aware of, a lot of folks have been um, talking about wanting sidewalk repair or expansion potentially on a road like Bronson Boulevard, right? Which has older sidewalk, or some areas don't have sidewalk. So, it's definitely out there and we understand that that's a need. Um, Dennis, I don't know if this is a question we can answer. There is a final question in here related to KL.
Yeah, KL is not a
It,
city project, so unfortunately, I don't
right.
know the status. I think either probably have to go to the road commission's website. They have a nice site with their project status, but it isn't ours, so I don't really know what's going on there.
Yep. Yeah, and another opportunity to get connected on some of the regional projects too is to attend uh Kalamazoo Area Transportation Study meetings. If you go to the Kalamazoo Area Transportation Study website, you can take a look at attending as a citizen. Um, for those that don't know, that's our kind of regional transit related kind of planning organization. Um, so just an opportunity there to get connected. We usually have folks from all different jurisdictions: City of Portage, City of Kalamazoo, townships, Road Commission, MDOT, regional folks. So good opportunity to connect at those meetings. All right. Are there any more questions folks wanted to submit? All right. Well, just a second reminder here, we've got a couple upcoming engagement opportunities. I really hope you guys attend those. There should be Facebook events for these, and there's more information on the city's website as well. We've been really appreciative again of folks' patience when it comes to these projects. It's been a pretty hot summer as well. So, as you see information out there about, crews working and working on these pretty intensive projects, just recognize and remember that these are, people doing their job, and it's very, some of the weather we've had this past year has been pretty dangerous in terms of heat and humidity. And so we greatly appreciate the patience from everybody. And um, these projects are going to they're going to look great and be great when they're fully completed. So with that, thanks everybody for attending and have a good rest of your week.